Welcome, you guys. I'm Angela with Faber Card Glick Neighborhood Center, and you are joining us for our Dimensions of Health. We are starting this podcast off with healthy relationships, embracing healthy relationships. So we are going to take that away with my special guest. We have Miss Ranada Dolton here with Empowered Living. Welcome. Thank you for being with me today.
My pleasure.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Miss Ranada?
What would you like to know? I feel like there's so much I could tell you.
Oh my God.
Help me be specific.
I can knock it down for you. So, in the relationship realm, I know that you deal with therapy
I do.
with a lot of different aspects, from the sexual aspect to the mental aspect to the physical aspect. In relationships today, how would you say your rate of therapy is with couples?
My rate of therapy with couples. So backstory. I've been married to a therapist. I specialize in sex, like you shared, amongst other things. Well, sexuality, not just sex. I don't want people to think I'm just out here just showing you positions. I do other stuff. As far as couples, I actually don't do a lot of work with couples. I end up doing a lot of work with individuals, and then eventually we end up doing couples work.
Oh, well, that's fast. That's absolutely fascinating. So, we have you here on our podcast today to hone in on what a healthy relationship looks like individually and with yourself, as well as bringing that into a relationship. Because we know that some people bring drama and trauma, but some people also bring that joy that they have had, and it leads to hopefully long-lasting relationships. So we look forward to speaking with you and you going and delving in there more for us as well. And we also have one of our flip teams, ladies and gentlemen, which is Future Leaders in Progress. And she is here today to share with us her views on relationships in her genre. I think that we cut that down to not the millenniums. She's not a millennium,
Gen
but
Z.
Gen Z. Gen Z? Who came up with these? I have no clue. However, young lady, give us your name and what caused you to be here with us. Why'd you agree to be on our podcast today?
My name is Jayla, and I came here because I was just told to give my perspective on things, and I like to share my perspective a lot too.
Yeah. Well, we are going to enjoy her perspective as we go through and have this conversation in regards to relationships. I'm sure that you'll give us some eye-opening thoughts on how it's going with you guys. And then we have Mr. Quinton Holland. He is raising baselines, and he's going to give us his perspective from the male view. He is the owner of Raising Baselines, and he does a lot of therapy here, not only here at the center, but also for his business as well. We are going to get his perspective. Mr. Quinton, can you tell us a little bit about what it is that you do in regards to counseling and what you're going to bring to us today?
Well, I personally counsel a lot of men and boys, and sometimes women, but I provide therapy more with without a chaser, so to speak. So I'm pretty forward about what it is, and I tend to call people on BS when they present BS. So like if a man comes in here and tells me what he's going to talk to a woman about, and it sounds like something he would tell a woman as opposed to what he's really going to do, I'll call him out on that. But the same thing is true if a woman comes in there. If you tell me all these things that you say you want, but this isn't what you're actually doing in practice when it comes to relationships. And so I think a lot of it is just trying to make sure that you match, that people match, situations match. And that's a lot of what you don't get that causes not to have healthy, happy relationships.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to what you have to say and your perspective on that as well, especially since it's what you're bringing in, what men bring to the table as well. So that's going to be very interesting for all of us. I do so agree. So I did a little bit of research, and it was kind of up and down for me because it states that divorce rate is down by 10% since 1980. So we were at about 50% divorce rate in the 80s, and now we're down by 40%. Miss Renata, why do you think that is the case? What do you think contributed to that decline in the divorce rate?
I think it's a couple of reasons. I think now society doesn't kind of. I feel like back then it was more of a you need to get married.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't matter if, I won't say it didn't matter, but it wasn't as important to make sure that this was a healthy, compatible relationship. So you might have gotten married because you got pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
or you might have gotten married because you were trying to hurry up and get out the house, or whatever the reason. There was a host of reasons, good, bad, or indifferent. Versus now, I feel like people are taking more time to get married. People are doing more of their therapy work, so learning more of who they are, having more standards, expectations in marriages. So I think that helps contribute to it, to why the rate has gone down. Plus, I think people are getting married a little bit later in life. So you know yourself a little bit more later in life versus early on. Not to say that you don't know yourself, but it looks different when you're 20 versus when you're 40.
Right, right. So with that being the case, let's fast forward it with some data from today. So now we're down 40%, and I see that our millennials and Gen Zs are getting in relationships. So what do you think about the dating scene and relationships that you've either experienced or you see in today's realm?
I feel like maybe there's a lot of double standards, especially now, but also like kind of piggybacking off what she said, it's like later, well, like my parents or whatever, like their generation was like slowly becoming that, oh, we don't have to get married. And like now it's mostly like no one, like a lot of people don't want to get married. I feel like my generation, half of us are really scared of commitment. So that's one big factor. But like also there's been like welcoming communities such as like being gay or like the power dynamics of relationships now. It's like sometimes it's mostly the woman that's the stronger one, well, rather than the men nowadays. But usually back then it was like the men had to say so over everything. And so I feel like that was a big shift that caused a lot of things with my generation in dating.
Oh, you brought up a couple of good factors in there. One of the factors that sprang out was the fear of commitment. Why do you think that's so? Even with the wide perspective and the doors opening up to different dating avenues and different versions of how relationships look, why do you think that fear of commitment is so big?
Honestly, I don't know. I feel like one day everybody just woke up and was like, "Yeah, we're gonna cheat." Like I don't know. Like cheating became like something that became popular, or like I feel like my generation has been babyfied a lot. So like a lot of us like we hinder ourselves, and I feel like parents and like social media and school and stuff has just hindered us a lot to the point where some people just aren't ready for it. Like some like even in my grade, like I'm a senior, and I just feel like some of those kids should probably go back to middle school. Like I feel like mentally,
Mental maturity level is what you mean? Okay.
yes, mentally, I feel like a lot of us are years behind. But I don't feel like it was because what we were like given with, such as like social media and even like our parents and I don't know, like music and stuff. Like even music glorifies like cheating and being alone and just wandering off and doing whatever you want to do without having any real commitments to anything. Like we're not required to anymore. Like usually it was like you need to have your life figured out by so and so and so and so. But now it's just like, when free, have fun.
Mm, okay. Okay. That brings a wide perspective. Thank you, Ms. Jayla. Okay, so Mr. Quinton. All right, I'm gonna need you to hone in on something. Ms. Renata, Ms. Jayla brought to attention some very key aspects in relationships. And I want to get your version of why do you think men fear commitment in today's age?
Fear? I don't know that they fear it. That the culture has changed in such a way that it's not a requirement for them to get most of the things that they would want out of a relationship. And for other men, there is a fear of rejection because if you listen to social media as they're talking about, there is a particular type of man or 3 or 4 types of men that women look for. And if they don't check those boxes, then they just choose not to participate. Or it's whatever shakes out of a tree that they go with, as opposed to competitively trying to get out and meet new people like you would in generations past. Whereas the traditional, I see somebody I like, I go up there and talk to them, introduce myself, and see if we're going to go out or see if we're compatible and get to know each other and all those things. A lot of that happens in the internet space now. Um, but as far as depending on what priority is for a man and what's going on in a man's life at this point, greatly decides whether or not he decides he wants to get married. Because you still have the fear of, I get married and I invest all this into it, she could leave and I'm back to square one.
Okay. So with that being the case, with healthy relationships, so you have a gentleman that has gone past that, right? And he's looking for a healthy to establish a healthy relationship, that could lead to marriage. What does that look like?
It looks like him being able to get himself together first. It starts with him being able to be stable, because and happy with who he is, and happy and have some type of purpose of where it is that he's trying to go and what that's supposed to look like. It's only at that point that he starts to be able to see the options of marriage or a long term relationship, and it being able to be healthy at the same time. Because if he doesn't have a purpose or have an idea of what it is that he wants, then he's not going to be settled in that relationship.
Okay. Okay.
And he's going to leave him wanting something else or trying to figure out something else because he's not fulfilled within himself.
Right. So piggybacking on that, Miss Ranada, what are your thoughts on the female perspective? What is it? What is it going to take for her to lead down that path and look at a healthy relationship from that perspective?
I think it's mimics a lot of what Quinton already said. I think a lot of times
I know sometimes those boxes don't equal on
sometimes it
his and
doesn't.
hers.
Sometimes it doesn't. But I think a big part of it ultimately is you need to know who you are. You need to know what your boundaries are, what your expectations are. I think a lot of times we go into these relationships and we have very unrealistic expectations. And so we say things like, well, we've been together all this time, so you should have known. Well, how many times do you surprise yourself? And you with you all the time. So it's not fair to even tell somebody you should have known when you don't even know all the time. So I think, like I said, big on knowing who you are and having real conversations. I think sometimes we don't do a great job at laying the foundation. We can jump into a relationship very quickly because all the feels. It feels good, it feels great. But we're not having those conversations of what is the goal? Like, I was talking to a client yesterday and we were kind of going over their non-negotiable list. And for them, they were like, I can't date anybody that doesn't believe in marriage because that's a waste of my time in marriage because I want to be married. So if I want to be married, I have to only date people who that is what they want to do.
Okay, that's understandable. So, Ms. Jayla, I'm going to ask you to chime in on that. When you are with your friends or you are surrounded by conversations, whenever that is, and it goes on the relationship aspect, what are young people today looking for in a relationship?
So for me, I feel like I probably think outside of the box for most things because I don't know. I feel like I'm understanding, but Me personally, I'd rather just talk to someone who can communicate their feelings well, who's like able to acknowledge their faults and say, hey, I was wrong for this, or able to call out something that I've done, because sometimes I don't know when like I've said something that hurt someone's feelings or an action that hurt someone's feelings. So I would rather someone sit there and try to talk and communicate that with me through rather than them just like getting mad and stepping off. So I want someone who's emotionally intelligent and who can communicate that in a respectful manner. Like I don't want people yelling at me.
All
So
right.
it's just I
Okay.
don't like that. I need, not need, but like I would like someone who's stable, whether, and I'm not saying like financially because I'm young, but like even when it comes to finances, I really just, the aspect of like, hey, let's go on a date. I don't want you to be like, well, like, I can't because my mom, and I need my mom's money. Like, I don't know. I just feel like me personally, I've been
Understand.
raised to be a little more independent than a normal teenager has. So I'm not used to people depending so much, especially financially, on their mom and stuff like that, or them just not having a job. Because it's like, my whole thing is like we're seniors and all the other stuff. Like I feel like it's good to grow, but I feel like, especially before getting into a relationship, you have to grow by yourself before you grow with another person. And I feel like some people don't understand that, especially in my age. Like, if if I know that I'm at a certain point where I feel like I can still grow, but my growth is slowing down, and not in a bad way, but just like this is all I can get to as of right now. I don't want to be with someone who still has so much learning and growing to do, because honestly, I know that I won't be able to handle or deal with that person, so I steer the other way. I know my generation though like loves money. A lot of people look for money, even though we're pretty young. Um, I don't know. I feel like loyalty is talked about and it's praised, but ideally most people really just disregard it as soon as they get into a relationship sometimes. But I feel like loyalty is definitely a big factor into a lot of things, because if I can't trust you, then why are we even here? Um, I feel like that's mostly it. I just don't. I I would rather pick someone with the same maturity level as me than someone who has a lot of money.
Well, you do think outside of the box. I would definitely say that. Kudos to you. You already stacked the deck on your side, knowing what it is that you want. So that's 5 steps ahead of a lot of individuals. I would agree. So I have a question for you, Miss Renata, and this is in regards to, you hear a lot about the languages of love.
Mhm.
What importance do you think that plays in the healthy relationship?
So I'm assuming you're referring to the 5 love languages.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can remember all of them. Quinton, help me out if I forget.
Okay.
So there's acts of service, words of affirmation, quality time. Still the two, I always forget the other two.
Touch.
Physical touch.
Physical touch, and gifts. Gift. I'm like, what are we doing? Playing charades? Okay.
That's the money part.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think the importance of them is it's letting the individual know this is how I like to receive love and this is how I like to give love. Because if I'm someone that doesn't like gifts and all you do is give me gifts, it may come across as I'm not appreciative of what you're doing, but it's just I might really struggle with people giving me gifts.
Okay. So you would say that plays in a healthy relationship, knowing what your love language is, knowing what you like and want, basically piggybacks on knowing yourself, has it plays a big part in it.
Mm-hmm. And also recognizing that the way you receive love may not be the way that you give love.
Mm-hmm. So that's a conversation that needs to be had on the forefront of the relationship versus the middle and the end, so that you can understand what those love languages are, what your languages of love are at the same time, in order to be able to have a cohesive and peaceful type of successful relationship. Piggybacking on that, um, I don't think a lot of people understand that it's okay to be happy and jolly and enjoy your relationship. Especially when you have a friend or you know someone or family member that you're hanging around that is struggling in their relationship, or they're going through a divorce, or they are just at odds with their other people. What advice would you give to them um, in regards to that portion that, hey, it's okay to be, to be happy. It's okay to still be there for your friend and embrace that. What does that look like?
The first thing that comes to mind is the idea of multiple things can be true at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I can be a support to you,
Mm-hmm.
and I can still be in a healthy, loving, caring relationship. And that doesn't mean that I have to deal my relationship for you. If anything, I can think of when I was going through my divorce, I recognized that God put a lot of married men in my life that adored their wives, and that was what I needed to see. I needed to be able to see that because obviously I'm going through a divorce. I'm frustrated, I'm upset, sad, and all the things. So I needed to see this is what it can look like. This is how it can be healthy. And that helped because my biggest prayer was I didn't want to be bitter. I know what bitterness looks like, and I don't like it. So I was very grateful that I was able to see, oh, this is what it looks like when someone really cares and adores for their marriage. They were still very empathetic and supportive when I was going through it, but it was able to give me that good balance.
Alrighty. So, Mr. Quinn,
Yep.
back on front and center. So, from a male's perspective, you seem to be the male, male mascot up here with us today. You rep it today. So, what does a healthy relationship look like from the male's perspective?
From everything that I can tell you about a healthy relationship for a man is that he feels needed and appreciated, and that able to communicate and be heard. Uh, and those are a lot of the things that keep him healthy. A lot of times when you hear about when I talk to men, one of the things that happen to cause it to be not healthy is not feeling heard or not feeling appreciated. Um, that they need attaboys. And so for them, it's positive reinforcement, for lack of a better way to phrase it. But that that man is doing what it is that he feels like he's supposed to be doing, and to bring value to the relationship. So if he says that I want to do this, and if he's operating in those things, he's usually happy in a relationship.
Okay, so you said operating, being appreciative. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Give me some examples of showing that appreciation.
The appreciation is it can be something as simple as thank you for taking me to the store. I see you've been working hard. I appreciate it. Some of the old ways, I made dinner and I made sure that I put a plate up for you. Your plate's already made. Okay. Those would be one of the traditional things. You need a break. Why don't you go hang out with your friends? Um, uh, I thought of this thing that I think you'd like, and so I got it for you. So, because men are never expecting those things, but they want them, but they'll never ask for them.
Why is that? Wouldn't it be
because they don't think about
the communication?
They don't think about it. You find a lot of stable men are basic as far as I'm gonna work, I'm gonna come home, I'm gonna spend time with my family, I'm gonna spend time with my girl, I'll spend time with those families. I might have a hobby. A lot of them don't have a hobby. I'm fine with that. They need their partner to add some spice to it. If their partner wants some spice to it, I'm gonna put some flavor in it. We're going to the home and gardens fair. We're I'm gonna get convince you. I'm gonna take you. We going on this trip to Tulum. If most of the times a healthy man is not thinking about those things because he's thinking about all the other things that he has on his plate.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That would be fair. Alrighty then. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to thank you for joining us for today's podcast, and we actually want you to remember 4 key things that you have heard from this podcast today. One is communication. It is key across the board. 2, you have to learn your type of your language of love. Um, the third and one of the most important things is you have to know what it is that you're looking for before you get into a relationship. And how does that relationship look for you? If you have any questions, please also let us know. And Miss Ranada, one final question for you is, what do you think and what have you seen as the most important aspect that people have come to you in the complaints about in their relationship? And how can that be prevented if that's on a negatory situation?
Communication is typically what I get. A lot of communication issues, and not even just in romantic relationships, just across the board. Um, so a lot of times we kind of back it up and see, well, have you communicated what you're trying to get across? Or have you made a lot of assumptions? Are you projecting things? So just kind of really filter it out. How much of it is your stuff versus the other person? And if it is the other person, have you put consequences in place? So that's, I don't have to stay on the phone with you and have an argument with you. We could maybe agree to disagree. I'm not saying go around hanging up on people, but it might be a matter of, hey, right now I'm not in the space to have a productive conversation with you. I need to call you back. So saying simple things like that.
Okay, I get that. Miss Jayla, do you have anything that you want to leave the crowd with?
Um, reflect. Reflect on yourself before you get into a relationship. Reflect your decisions and how that may affect, your partner. And just keep reflecting.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, you have joined us for today's podcast, and we thank you so much. If you have any questions, please feel free to let us know. You can send your questions to a Winston at fbgincenter.org, or you can
You can also put in the
you can leave
comments.
us comments.
Right.
Yeah, I had a blank moment. Forgive me for that. But leave me your comments. We want to know what your thoughts are. But we keep it real here at that. And real professional as well, as you can see. So just drop us your comments. We will be sure to get back with you. And by the way, join us for our next podcast, March the 7th. We're going to take the stress out of your financial situation. Tune in next time.